So thank you all for coming to Cock Talk.
He has trouble counting change with the hands thing. Wait, stop. Sorry.
Yes, but I don't think that Dana Carvey's movie coming out at that same time was really that big a problem for our country. I still don't know why you're making such a big deal about September 11th, 2001. I mean...
Fucking hate you. Well, they don't necessarily need to be anathema, but they are definitely on different ends of a spectrum.
Oh boy, howdy. See, I have a genetic predisposition against redheads, so...
Because you are one.
Right.
Yeah, combustion. Yeah, we've heard it before.
Yep. The only time I change the setting is when I take the hair trimmer down to the nether regions. Like, that's the only time. Other than that, it's all just a tube.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just learned how about you all?
I'm joking. I use Veet. After the four Gospels, what's the next book of the Bible?
Acts.
Okay. And after that, it's Romans, isn't it?
I'm drunk. Romans. Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. And if you look at the 15th chapter of Romans, okay, you will find that it actually mentions the ability to arm yourself. That's why it's AR-15. Thank you. Checkmate, atheists. And anytime there's action in the ring, Scott Hall is taking all the bumps because Kevin Nash kind of sucks as a worker. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher here in Northern California. Now finishing up my first week of hybrid instruction after a year away from my classroom. And I have to say it has not been quite the complete clusterfuck I had expected it would be. Still don't entirely see the point of why I'm back in a classroom when I only have 5 kids showing up at a time, and I'm not introducing any new material while I have those 5 kids in the room, and they're having to sit 4 feet apart from each other. I mean, the laundry list could go on, but we're the political will in this country seems to require that we have performative attendance on the part of students, and so I'm doing my part to enable that. Would you like to know more?
No, because I live it on a daily basis, and it's depressing.
Yeah, it really is.
Largely because I'm a Latin high school teacher up here in Northern California, and I actually just got the paperwork that says that I can remain at home until the end of the year, which is really cool.
Bump.
Yes.
You can't see it, of course, in Radio Land out there, but that's what we just did.
Yes. But I really like that I've got such a supportive admin. Actually, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it must be.
And frankly, I like that my admin's vision, because he does have a vision, but my admin's vision seems to be one of, I'm not going to last as long as any of you are because history is a thing. So I want to empower you all so that it's not based on the permissions and personality of the person in charge, but instead on the culture of the campus that you and I help create, which is really nice. Which means that for believe it or not, a human in charge.
Yeah. Damn.
So, believe it or not, that means that for the next 6 weeks or so, as kids are coming back next week, he said that the academics matter a whole lot less than taking care of the people in front of you. So take care of the people in front of you. And if that's academics, that's great. And if it's not, that is also okay. If they just need a day to cry, then let them have that day to cry. Don't worry about how far you covered into the Crimean War. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's neat. It's cool.
I really, really, really wish my principal would have a come to your principal meeting.
I wish my principal would go out on the road and teach other principals how to principal, because he actually puts the word principals back into the job of principal.
Where do I sign the petition to get him to do that?
I keep trying to get you to come into my district.
Yeah, and recent events, that's getting not any more likely.
Fair.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
but so out to just move away from that depressing topic into I don't know what might turn out to be a different one. So a moment ago I asked you, Would you like to know more?
I did catch that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it twigged my brain.
Okay.
That is familiar, but I don't remember what
So what do you remember about the year 1997?
I moved in with producer George.
There you go.
Producer George's now wife of more than 20 years used to drive producer George and myself to Egghead Computers. I remember a lot about 1997. I really do, because we had a new movie theater that opened up just not too far from us. We could walk to it.
Very cool.
And it was really cool because it was brand new, so you didn't have all the stains and stickiness. And I remember there was one movie that we went to see just kind of on a whim.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this looks like a fun little action flick. Cool.
Okay.
But there were only enough seats for 4 of us, and 3 of us guys decided we wanted to go see this one, and that meant his wife had to go see something else. So we kind of started a fight between them by going to watch Starship Troopers.
Okay.
So
and there you go.
What?
Would you like to know more?
Oh, that's what it's from.
Yes.
That's why I thought of that.
Yes.
There you go.
Precisely.
Okay.
So we're going to be talking about Starship Troopers today.
Okay. Sounds good.
And the issue that specifically we're going to talk about in Starship Troopers is Heinlein, Robert Anton Heinlein,
known very much for his ability to draw the back end of Bo Derek, if I recall.
That too.
Yeah. He drew the cover for the movie 10, where you see Bo Derek's rear end in a silhouette. He drew a really good hindline.
Oh, very nice. Well done. Well done. How far in 520?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of slipping.
It's not my fault you talked so much about middle school.
Okay, well, granted, there is that. So, but Robert Anton Heinlein, R.A.H., wrote a novel in 1959 that became the basis for the movie Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay. So 1959. So he's already an adult. He's, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
already.
I got a short bio.
Oh, good. Okay. So
beginning here.
Okay. Then continue.
Okay. So, the title and subtitle of this episode is Movie versus Book, Starship Troopers.
Ooh.
Or Heinlein wasn't a fascist, but Verhoeven made him one.
So in 59, Heinlein drew a fine line between.
Nicely
Thank
done.
you. Okay.
I like it. See,
Yeah,
not even mad there.
No.
Not even mad.
All right. He raised hunting dogs. I don't know if that's in your bio, but
no, it is not.
Yeah, no, the Heinlein kennels for Weimaraner Heinleins.
Weimaraner. Okay. All right. Yeah. You stretched on that one a little bit.
So did the dogs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So so in 1958, 59, there was the announcement came out here in the United States that we were going to be in an effort to cooperate with the Soviets. We were going to be suspending nuclear tests.
Nice.
Okay, as part of negotiation with the Soviet Union.
By this point, both of us have the H-bomb, correct?
Yes. By 59, we both did. And so we were going to be suspending nuclear tests. And in 1954, just to give a broader kind of idea of where in the Cold War we're talking about here, in 54, John Foster Dulles started us down the road to mutually assured destruction as Secretary of State.
As a deterrent or as a hell of a good idea?
As a deterrent.
Oh, okay.
The idea of mutually assured destruction as, he talked of massive retaliatory power in defense of U.S. allies at a function with State Department people.
It's basically NATO.
He gave a speech. Well, NATO and later. So in 54, NATO first of all got formed after World War II.
Yeah,
49,
48,
49, 50, or 48, 49. You're right. And then SEATO was formed in 54, Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. In 57, we get the Eisenhower Doctrine, meaning we're going to defend Middle Eastern nations against communist aggression.
Which was MITO.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Except we never actually formed a treaty organization in that part of the world.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah. Turkey wound up eventually. I don't think they were part of it in 1957, but eventually Turkey joined NATO.
Right. Which is funny because
none of the other.
You'd think you would want Turkey in your MITO.
You really would.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
You know.
But
I guess because Europe and the Bosporus and you just kind of grease the skids.
Nice.
Thanks.
Nice. Yeah, massively Donian with that. And then Strategic Air Command started their 24/7 round-the-clock watch for Soviet missiles in 1957.
And in 1958, we designed a treaty organization that fell through, but it was with China and Mongolia. It was called Cheeto.
With Chester as the first secretary.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
So in 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, which was the beginning of the space race.
Right.
And then in 1958 into 1959 is the Berlin airlift.
Wait.
December of 1958 into 1959.
That's 1958, 1959?
Yeah,
I thought that
it's
was
that late. It really is that late.
Oh, no. Truman did that. That was 1948, 1949.
Hold on.
Yeah. But meanwhile, while you're looking that up, also we started a treaty organization for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Specifically with, I believe, France and Azerbaijan, because they both had really good swimmers, and we started Speedo.
Yeah, you're right. 1948 into 1949. How did I get that? Yeah. And I'm just going to completely... I'm going to swim past that one.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. So we're not talking about... This is not the high water mark of the Cold War.
No.
Okay, we're not at high tide yet.
Right.
But the tide was very clearly on the rise.
Yes.
Tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union were continuously, gradually, but at an accelerating pace.
It was like
tensions were ramping up.
Steady increasing drum beato.
You're just not going to quit with that. Wow. So,
Because then we tried to get Fidel Castro to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but he didn't like the shoes that he had to wear because he didn't want to wear cleatos.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I just move on. Just keep moving on. We
did form a treaty with Scotland, and it was called Bleato because of the sheep.
See, I wasn't sure whether it was the sheep or the pipes, but there you go. So Heinlein, first off, who
had scoliosis, so he had a crooked spine line.
Yeah. Didn't actually, because he wouldn't have been able to get into Annapolis with that. He was a Naval Academy graduate, class of, I have it here somewhere. I'll find it. And he graduated number 5 in his class academically, but number 20 overall because of demerits.
Okay.
Which tells you a little bit about his personality.
Well, it also tells you the culture of the academies.
That too.
I might be wrong on this, but I do believe that William Appleman Williams, the historian, also I think was either at just some naval academy or at Annapolis.
Okay.
Which is really interesting. I should probably look that up. But
yeah.
Okay.
So Heinlein had by 1959, Heinlein already had an established career. He'd written stuff that science fiction fans to this day, it's his works. Many of his works are considered part of the canon of the form. Mm-hmm. And he had been writing since the 1930s. The book of his that is dearest to my heart is Have Spacesuit Will Travel.
Okay.
Which was one of a big long series of juvenile science fiction stories that he wrote for think like 11, 12, 13-year-old readers.
Yeah, young adult fiction.
Yeah, young adult stuff.
Yeah.
And Starship Troopers marks the end of the young adult writing in his career.
So it's young adult.
It's, well, yes and no.
Okay.
It could be, but he didn't really intend it that way, but because of kind of one of the things that the novel is, there are themes from the juveniles, as his fans refer to the young adult stuff that he wrote. There are themes from the juveniles that carry over.
Okay.
into his work. And I want to take a moment to do a little bit of a segue about politics and science fiction before we even get started.
Okay. And
into Starship Troopers specifically.
Yeah. Before you do that, so Heinlein graduated in 29.
Okay.
So Heinlein in 29.
Yeah.
And William Appleman Williams graduated in 45.
Okay.
And what I find fascinating just right there is you have two very prolific writers in their fields.
Yes.
William Appleman Williams was like the C. Wright Mills School of History. Yeah. And he developed the Wisconsin School of History, which was essentially, instead of the Cold War was predatory communism, it's a smokescreen for predatory capitalism.
Okay.
And it's not like he didn't have a shit ton of
Annapolis
advice.
Grad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And he talked about, and this is why it twigged me so much, because, Heinlein is predating him by 16 years.
Yeah.
But it's possible they had similar or the same professors. It's possible.
Potentially.
And I know that William Appleman Williams, he talked about when he was in his English class, because it's a college.
Yeah.
When he was in his English class, his professors assigned like 10 pulp fiction novels to them to read, so that when they actually read the classics, they'd appreciate them.
Yes.
And I just found that fascinating, because it's like, you're going to get a whole lot of reps in with garbage, but it's still going to be reps. And then when we actually get to Homer, you're going to be like, oh, thank fucking God.
Oh, thank Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting that you have, again, two prolific writers coming out of this Annapolis Academy at within the same generation.
Yes.
I'm going to say. Now, I don't know if there was a turnover at that point, but I mean, 29 to 45.
29 to 40. Yeah, okay.
It's within a 20-year span.
Yeah.
I know that they're very different people, but yeah. So anyway, you wanted to get into the politics.
Yeah,
so please do.
So science fiction obviously is a forward-looking genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a visionary genre.
Yes.
William Gibson wrote a wonderful essay about science fiction having the freedom that comes with being the court jester of literature.
Oh, so you're not supposed to take it seriously on some level. Yeah. And as such, you can be much more daring and challenging,
and bring up ideas, bring up concepts, and say, I'm going to take this thing.
Right.
And I'm going to run with this thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to spin this thing out to one logical conclusion of it.
Right.
And then I'm going to think about what knock-on effects does that have.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so all of speculative fiction kind of builds on that kind of conceit.
Now, with that conceit, and I'm sorry, I keep just completely stepping on any rhythm you've got, and I apologize.
Don't worry about
it. It's because I was listening to a Heinlein drumline. But
good day, sir.
But so I just want to. So Heinlein's writing around this time. Yeah. You've done another episode on Tolkien.
Yes.
Now, these are two ends of the spectrum as far as technology goes when it comes to the worlds that they build.
Yes.
I'm curious as to what. It seems like both are on the margins and therefore can point to similar things about the human condition, and they do it in very different ways. But at the same time, there does seem to be a focused difference in both.
One of them is very much intensely identifies as an Englishman.
Oh,
as
okay.
A central part of his whole worldview.
Okay.
Is his love of England and the countryside around Oxford and all of that.
Sure.
And then the other one is very, very American.
Sure.
Very, very motivated by his Americanness and his belief in the ideas of the American experiment. Okay. And so their emphases are wildly different.
They also lived through two different wars.
Tolkien is easily a generation older.
Yes.
And Tolkien is rabidly anti-industrialism. Tolkien's whole worldview is, And then they had to figure out water power and building mills, and they just fucked everything up.
And so this
kind of his Tolkien's
and
underlying. There's a deep distrust of technology in Tolkien.
Right.
Heinlein was a believer in the utopian potential of
right.
much like his generation of American science fiction writers.
Of course, yes.
He was convinced that science and technology and good old American pluck
right
were going to find solutions to all of the world's problems, and
okay.
with that combination of the right kind of grit and character
right
combined with Protestant work ethic, et cetera,
sure.
and scientific progress, we would wind up living in a better,
world.
Cleaner,
right.
Okay,
so I want to drill down on that difference just a little bit more, because I have someone who loves both so much in front of me.
Yeah.
I really want to peel back a few layers of this onion. Tolkien also is an Englishman living at the decline of his empire.
Yes.
And Heinlein is an American living at the ascendancy of his.
Yes.
That's an important thing, and I think that'll probably play out. But what I want to get back to is the worlds that they both created.
Yes.
Because you have a world without technology, and it seems almost Horatian in its like Horace the poet in its it values the bucolic, it values the idyllic. And I'm wondering,
very much.
It's stripping away a lot of things. It almost feels like if you strip away all those things, and maybe this is getting toward my love of different kinds of role-playing games. If you strip away all those things, then you can get to a pure human condition.
Okay, yeah.
And if you go the other way with the technology, and I'm asking if this cons, if you go the other way with technology and sci-fi, you are adding things on to get to, I almost want to say a pure human condition, but it doesn't. It almost seems like this is more aspect oriented, whereas this is more core oriented.
Yeah, I think the way you say that I think works.
Okay.
I think it's important to note that Heinlein and one of my favorite other writers, Jerry Pournelle and
Asimov.
No, Larry Niven.
Oh.
Heinlein, Niven, Pournelle, all of those guys were convinced that taking all of that stuff away, taking us back to a simpler condition, was going to lead to anarchy and the tyranny of the strong. Larry Niven,
history proves.
Yes, which history proves.
Yeah.
Larry Niven actually wrote a really remarkable, fun short story that has to do with the failure of a monitoring system. He came up with the idea of, at some point in his future history, the freeway system becomes obsolete, and in Los Angeles they turn the freeways into parks. They turn them into huge green belts.
Oh, neat.
And in this short story, there's a system of semi-autonomous drones that move around and watch everybody.
So he predicted Hollywood.
He did, sort of. And, but without thinking about many of the ramifications. And I think he wrote this in the 40s or the 50s. But so there are these little anti-gravity hover drone things floating around. And the thing is, they're semi-autonomous and they communicate with it. They don't send visual to each other, because his imagination wasn't quite big enough to understand the idea of the internet yet.
Right.
It was too far away. But they are constantly in communication with each other, so one of them sees something going wrong and can send a signal and summon 5 or 6 of them. Okay. And one of the things is, in these parks, it is idyllic anarchy. The laws about individual behavior don't apply, with the exception that if you do anything violent or threatening toward anybody else, one of these drones is going to stun you and knock you unconscious. Okay. And allow whoever you're bothering to get away and do whatever. Well, some, Weisenheimer says, it's, George Orwell, watched all the time. And partly out of an anarchistic streak and partly out of just, I want to see what I can do with this thing. He winds up disabling one of them.
Okay.
He gets he pays a bunch of kids to catch one of them, and then he's tinkering with it. He shuts it down. Well, somehow in a way that the story doesn't explain, because it's not really important to the plot.
Right.
The one getting shut down shuts all of them down.
Oh, this is the plot behind Independence Day. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's to solve.
Yeah, and and when that happens, then the park turns into Lord of the Flies.
Right.
Because there isn't anybody.
Wow, and he's in LA writing this in the 40s.
Yeah.
I would point out how fucked up the police department was in LA in the 40s.
In the 40s, yeah.
And the belief that if the police went away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it is well known in literary science fiction circles, people who go to science fiction cons for years and years and years. Niven, Purnell, Heinlein while he was alive. Well, now all these guys are dead. But, well, actually I could be wrong. Niven might not be. But anyway.
No, Niven died in the 80s because I remember they did a MASH retrospective, and Ferret Face was, I think, the second one to die right after.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
So, but anyway, Niven, Purnell, and a cadre of other writers were right of center. Okay. They were conservatives. They were believers in
40s conservatives, 50s conservatives.
40s, 50s conservatives.
Okay. So essentially communists now.
Yeah, well, yeah, they'd be labeled that way. Yes. Yeah.
Did I? Yeah. I got it. Okay. Yeah. I brought up communists.
Maybe not communists, but they would be labeled as cucks for sure.
Right. Yeah. I got, so given my dalliances with calling things out.
Yeah.
I got an email today or yesterday from somebody at my work. I don't respond to work emails from outsiders, so feel free to keep sending them, people. But
you'll just wind up on the podcast.
Yeah,
he's
pretty
just
much.
Going to wind up talking about it like
so.
This.
The guy, he basically, he's like, "Hey, you communist cocksucker," and he goes on. And it occurred to me that in his world, the objectionable part about me is that I'm a communist cocksucker. In which case, I started wondering, well, would he be okay with a fascist cocksucker, or is he more of like a Peronist cocksucker?
No, stop.
So
Stop. In his worldview, fascists, Peronists, they pitch, they don't catch.
No, but his objection didn't seem to be the cocksuckerness; it was the communist part, because that's the part that was the through line. So
he kept bringing up that.
Yeah.
Well,
so you could be a cocksucker. That's fine.
I think the cocksucker part was intended to just be, a throwaway insult.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, he thinks, the thing that gets me though is okay, the issue that you brought up was institutional racism.
Yeah.
And somehow that makes you a communist. The biggest thing I want all of your critics, I actually want to go to one of their meetings. Wherever it is they get together and share their crazy shit nutbag whateverness.
Yeah.
I want to just stand up in front of them and go, okay, I want to give you all a primer.
Right.
On what these words fucking mean.
Yeah. I teach 7th grade. Here we go.
I teach 7th grade world history. I'm qualified to teach government and political science to high schoolers.
Right.
Clearly, none of you were paying attention. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
Communism does not mean is you can have a racial superiorist, supremacist, communist. You can do that. You can be. It would be harder.
I would argue
harder.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be harder, but you just say in our communist utopia we don't have
these people. Okay.
I mean,
I could see that.
It'd be exclusionary supremacism.
Yeah. Okay.
But you could do it.
Yeah.
The two, communism is not innately tied to
racial equality.
Racial equality. It is tied to an idea of economic distribution.
Okay.
All
right.
It is tied to a system of sharing of resources.
Okay.
It doesn't have anything at all to do with the fucked up race politics of our country. Now, generally speaking, leftists are gonna be people who are pushing for racial justice, racial equality, because of intersectionalism and the fact that the white supremacist capitalist system that we have now.
Don't forget imperialist, because that's where I think you're gonna run into trouble with saying communism doesn't have any interest in the racial stuff, because it's inherently anti-imperialist, and imperialism is absolutely based on a racial system.
Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, by that extension.
By the transitive property.
Yeah,
you are correct. But you get my point.
I do.
I want to just say, okay, no, look, communism is an economic system.
Right.
Okay, and to the extent it's political, it's because politics is how we decide how we're going to run our fucking economy.
Sure.
Okay, capitalism doesn't actually have some level of innate virtue tied to freedom, individual. No.
Right.
The only thing capitalism says is, if you have money, you can take that money and put it into a project and make more money.
Right.
And Adam Smith, and this is the reason I don't call myself a socialist. Adam Smith, the father of capitalism.
Sure.
The one that, like, every Ayn Rand, jack off fanboy, says, well, just look at Adam Smith. You haven't read Adam Smith. I fucking have read Adam Smith. He's not saying what you think he's fucking saying.
True.
Adam Smith just said, you, as an individual, are going to be more efficient, more effective, and probably more successful if you focus on doing this one thing that you are good at.
Right.
Specialization of labor, and important point, Adam Smith never said a goddamn word about taxes being evil.
No, in fact, he talked about the invisible hand being a regulatory body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I could get it all.
So Heinlein was right of center.
Calling you a communist is like, that's one of the, and like, it's happened to you so many times in the last couple of weeks that every time that comes up, I just want to go on a rant about.
Well, one of them sent me a letter. You could certainly go on a road trip.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Every time I think about the woman who sent it, I get such a kick out of it, because there's a song called "Downtown" sung by Mrs. Miller. And if you type in "Downtown" Mrs. Miller, it's just most off key song, and I just imagine that voice being reading. Yeah.
No, I can see that.
So okay.
Back to Heinlein.
Your boys were right of center.
They were right of center.
Yeah.
They were Eisenhower Republicans.
Sure.
And as time went on, and we got into like the Reagan years, they were rah-rah.
Right.
They were Cold Warriors.
They were pulled right.
Yeah, they were pulled right along with, the movement, as it were.
Yeah.
And what I think is important to keep in mind is they were Cold Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just like JFK.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Yeah.
And so in their work, as opposed to C.J. Cherry or other science fiction authors.
Okay.
Pern, Anne McCaffrey, other.
This is why I get a kick out of the fact
authors.
where you go off on how well read I am. Like, I heard one of those names once. I haven't read shit of those things.
So here's the deal. This is episode 1 of I'm educating you about science fiction.
Yeah, true.
Because the next thing I have in the pipeline is I'm gonna fucking do Dune.
Sweet.
And it's just gonna be okay. Look.
Yeah. Here's Dune.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there's this right of center faction of science fiction. Heinlein is definitely in that camp. There's the left of center wing of science fiction. Other authors are in that camp. And this was all happening in a time when the deep, 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 ugly divisions that we have right now weren't a thing. Social mores were also somewhat different. So Asimov, for example, was kind of tacitly allowed to be a dirty old man and get away with doing problematic shit at conventions because, that's Isaac. And the entire genre is now having a long overdue conversation about, that was not okay.
Right.
these things are bad, boys and girls. We shouldn't be doing this, and female authors should not have to put up with this shit in order to socialize and hang in these circles where publishing decisions get made and all this stuff happens. So understand as I talk about these things, I don't want to try to put some kind of rose-colored glasses over, that era of what was going on.
You're not doing a hagiography of them.
No. And so that's kind of the context for understanding what Heinlein did with the novel. Okay. And I'm gonna talk about the novel before we get anywhere near Verhoeven in the movie.
Sure.
Just chronology, and I think it's a more constructive way to have the conversation.
That's how we did Batman.
Yeah. So Heinlein was a graduate of the Naval Academy, was a veteran of World War II. He had not been actively in the Navy. Okay. He was a civilian contractor during the war. Prior to the war, he'd been a technical officer. He'd done communications work at sea. He was a line officer in the Navy.
What is a line officer?
Line officer as opposed to staff officer. Line officer is somebody who is actually out in a position where they could potentially get shot at. Staff officer is somebody in a support headquarters kind of role.
Oh, okay.
And so he was aboard a ship, aircraft carrier.
Oh, wow.
I got to look up which one. But anyway, he served in the Navy. Okay. That was a very centrally shaping kind of part of his worldview. And Starship Troopers is unabashedly a loudly pro-military work. Okay. And it is clearly a product of the Cold War. The arachnids, the bugs, are a hive mind, centrally controlled army of cold, faceless murder machines deployed in waves, one after the other, after the other, after the other. They're not actually even given any weapons because, of course, in Starship Troopers, the bugs don't need them. Right. But what does this sound like? Remember, this is written in 1959. Well, it sounds centrally controlled wave attacks by huge numbers of
it sounds like two things. It sounds like, by the way, he was on the USS Lexington.
Thank you.
Sure. Which makes sense because it's one of the first aircraft carriers. So, but what do you call it? It sounds like one of two things. One, it sounds like it's informed by perhaps knowledge of how the Russian infantry worked on the Eastern Front.
Yes.
Also, though, America had just gotten out of Korea. And that's China. And that's
winner, chicken dinner.
Nice.
Yes.
Go me.
Clearly informed by Western perception of both the Soviets and more immediately the
Chinese and the North Koreans.
Communist Chinese and the North Koreans. And to be fair, it's a generalization and he's painting with a very broad brush, but that saves time, as we know from a wise man. And it's not exactly wrongly portrayed. As a reader of military fiction. And darn it, I can't remember the title of the book, but a retired U.S. military officer, sometime in the mid to late 80s, actually wrote a speculative fiction. It wasn't science fiction. It was just a what if story. Of what actually happens if the Russians try to go over the Fulda Gap.
Okay.
And for those in our listening audience who aren't aware of these terms, the Fulda Gap was basically the one place that NATO knew that if the Soviets were actually going to run headlong into Western Europe,
that would be there.
The Fulda Gap was the geographical bottleneck they were going to be coming through.
Okay.
And we knew we had their army manual. They had ours. They had FM 100-1. They knew what our doctrine was, and they specifically designed weapon systems to deal with our military doctrine in the same way we designed stuff to deal with theirs.
Right.
We knew that we were going to be dealing with I want to say 5-3 numerical problem. They were going to outnumber us
they had
at least
more than
5-3 in terms of armor. And so every armor system that NATO developed from the 1920s 60s until the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union was built around that idea. The Apache attack helicopter with all of those anti-tank missiles.
Right.
Was the Hellfire missile system was specifically designed to be the weapon that was going to be, we're going to put a cloud of these up in the sky, and we're going to blow up one of these helicopters is going to need to blow up a dozen tanks.
Wow.
And the A-10 Warthog
yeah.
was specifically designed for, okay, no, look, we're going to need to pop these things like pimples.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just bores holes through the armor. Yeah.
And so, because we knew how their doctrine worked, this officer, who right now I can't remember his name and I can't remember the title of the novel, but it was a fascinating thought exercise, was he actually got into the head of a fictional Soviet army officer, officer. And the way their doctrine worked, one of the central things that happens in the novel is they achieve a breakthrough. And this company commander, with his 8 tanks or however many it was, busts through Allied lines, winds up behind Allied lines, and now to our doctrine, that was kid in a candy store time. That was, okay, no, now you run around blowing shit up. Like, you as the commander on the field, you're the guy, go do it. Right. Soviet doctrine was, we don't know what to do. If you can't hear from central command, there's this moment of, we're winning. The fuck do I do?
Right. Next step, please.
Yeah. Because everything in their doctrine was built around the idea of centralized control. And so this picture of what the bugs were as this allegory for communist Soviets,
and they were larger than soldiers too, so they were clearly the armor division.
Yeah. And so it is definitely a reaction to what we knew and surmised. I mean, in 59, what we knew and what we surmised about what this might look like. Funny thing, though, the book is a lot more than that all at once. It's also a post-apocalypse novel.
So we had an apocalypse, and then we rebuilt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the society that Johnny Rico and all of his friends are living in is one that was built in the wake of a nuclear exchange.
Which ultimately...
a generation or two previously.
Okay, and this is 59.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Gene Roddenberry.
Yes.
And what he might have had access to, what he might have been reading, because when you get to Star Trek...
Yeah.
Now, Roddenberry wrote the character Noonien Singh. He did.
Yes.
And eugenics wars and all that was a part of that backstory. I don't know if he was the only writer on that or if there was a writer's room that they probably massaged it back and forth. But it occurs to me that Star Trek is a post-apocalyptic as well.
Yeah.
Because we had to get real low before we could actually get to the utopia.
Okay. What existed previously. For Roddenberry, I think it's the kind of liberal progressive idea of we need to break down what we
get rid of religion,
get rid of the rot, get rid of the stuff that's in the way, and then we can achieve all these dizzying heights. And basically being one of his central things. As we talked about.
It makes me wonder if John Lennon didn't just watch Star Trek and write Imagine.
It could be.
Yeah,
you never know. Yeah. So the novel is also a Bildungsroman.
Say it again.
Bildungsroman. Coming of age novel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Johnny Rico changes over the course of the novel from being a flat C student from a privileged family who doesn't want to get involved in politics to a dedicated, patriotic, highly competent commander of men on the battlefield.
Wow, that's like what George W. Bush wishes.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, that's interesting right there, too. Because 97 and then 4 years later. He read a lot, believe it or not. Like people come down on him for being an idiot. And frankly, I think there's some ableism going on there. But also he is
amongst other things.
Yeah. But he was kind of a prolific reader.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder if he didn't because I mean he loved Red Dawn as a movie too.
Yeah,
like,
it's,
you know, but
come on,
yeah,
he's a Republican.
Yeah,
Red Dawn was the height of we talk
pinnacle,
about high watermark
yes.
of the Cold War. Yeah,
right.
No, of course he loved it.
Sure.
Are you kidding? Had all the machismo.
Oh yeah.
All the
set in Iowa. So, corn country.
Persecuted Americanism.
Yep.
American exceptionalism. I mean, of course he did.
Yeah.
It's red meat.
Yeah.
Red Dawn, red meat.
Mm-hmm.
So Rico is this. I mean, at the beginning of the.
Sorry,
what?
I got an image of a before and after. So Red Dawn knots. Wolverines. And then Red Dawn Rickles. Oh, sure, this guy, he's going to come over here and shoot me now. It's Cuban. Yeah, he and his
Cuban.
Russian friend. Okay, great.
Okay,
just look
great.
at him.
Yeah. Andy, bang! I need another bullet for my AK, Andy.
Or just Red Dawn Ho, Tiny bullets.
Yeah, we went to the same place on that one. But it is, the novel is clearly building on all of the juveniles that he'd written previously, because of the fact that it is this coming of age story.
So in some ways it's him coming of age in his what's it called? Not your discography.
His oeuvre.
Yeah, his oeuvre. Because you just said it was the last of his young adult stuff.
Yeah, or it's the first of what we would say is not young adult stuff.
Right. So literally his writing is going through the same metamorphosis that Johnny Rico is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or his subject matter and his thought processes.
Mm.
Because after this, going into the 60s, going into the 70s, he got weird. I'll get into it.
Yeah.
So it's the movie is not the movie. The novel is a whole bunch of things kind of all at once.
Okay.
It is also at its core, a very big part of it is a thought experiment and a political philosophy statement.
Okay.
What it isn't, and I'm going to get into kind of what the statement is supposed to be, but what it isn't, what it wasn't meant to be.
Okay.
And I phrase that way because that's an important distinction. What it was not meant to be was a paean to fascism.
Well, and I would point out that one of the
authorial intent don't mean shit.
Yeah.
No, I understand. Yeah, no.
Yeah, which is why you're threading that needle.
I'm threading that needle that way. His intent was not for it to be a fascist novel. Heinlein participated in socialist politics in California back in the early 30s. He was part of the EPIC movement, End Poverty in California.
Did he work with Steinberg? Or no, not what's his name? Steinbeck.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Because
Yeah.
Steinbeck, featured a socialist movement in the story of the Jodes coming to California. Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah. No, the other Upton Sinclair.
Oh, yeah.
Was also involved.
Yeah.
Heinlein repeatedly deplored dictatorial regimes in his writing, both in his fiction and he wrote reams of essays.
Oh, okay.
Reams of essays. And
Nice.
and he deplored any kind of authoritarian, top-down, dictatorial kind of government. He was deeply anti-authoritarian. He had worked as a civilian engineering consultant for the Navy during World War II.
Right.
I already mentioned it. And he wrote and spoke often about the importance of citizen participation in representative government. Okay.
Oh, that having watched the movie, I can hear the echoes of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You need to show up. You need to vote.
Mm-hmm.
The vote
doesn't work without it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's regularly quoted as a libertarian in his later years. Pro free love, pro radical free speech, pro bodily autonomy, hippie dip / dirty old man.
So right of center.
Yeah. Yeah. But
yeah.
Not tanky right.
Yeah.
Like individual, white edgelord right, but not tanky edgelord right.
Right. Yeah.
And
Not women should be subservient, but I'm going to use this idea
from it. Yeah,
to get to fill them up.
Oh yeah, no,
So,
I'm
still entitled to their bodies, but they're not subservient to me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna and I'm the product of a generation where those sexist ideas are just kind of that's the water I swim in, but. I am going to talk about how women get horny too. Mm-hmm. Like they should be allowed. They should be allowed to feel me up too, right?
Right?
Everybody has fun.
I could think of worse things to do. Yeah. I mean, if one bothered me like that, it wouldn't bother me like that. Yeah, it's that kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
So he's a Roddenberry leftist.
He's a he's a Roddenberry rightist.
Yeah. There you go.
In his later works, the one that immediately jumps to mind as an example of this is another big, philosophical. I'm gonna include rants from multiple characters from multiple angles about religion and bodily autonomy and all this kind of stuff. Is Stranger in a Strange Land. Oh,
he wrote that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only know the phrase, but
yeah.
I know that it was a title of a book or a story.
And it got picked up by the hippie movement.
Okay, that's where
Can you grok it? Became a phrase in popular culture, and that's taken from John Valentine Smith, the Martian, in air quotes, the human who came back from Mars.
Okay.
Who learned that phrase from the Martians. To grok means to absorb something in its fullness.
Wow.
To make it part of yourself, not merely to understand it,
right,
but to take it into
yourself, to internalize and integrate,
to fully internalize it. So
wow,
okay, right, man, I grok.
Now, okay, at that same time, as people are saying, "Can you grok it?" They're also doing graffiti of Frodo Lives.
Yes,
I just think it's interesting how you've got these.
Oh yeah,
these two. Canons, these two
different threads of speculative fiction going on kind of at the same time. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that Heinlein was writing was also boomer catnip. Because in Stranger
I love that phrase.
In Stranger in a Strange Land, he was saying he was totally in favor of polyamory.
Sure.
He didn't have the word polyamory.
Right.
But the religious group, movement, cult, whatever you want to call it, that his main character founds is polyam. Everybody in the community is polyamorous within the community.
Okay.
And they're not they have gotten to a place, or they're all working to get to a place where they've gotten past jealousy and whatever.
Right.
Possession,
attachment.
Possession, all that kind of stuff, which is also very Eastern philosophy.
It is
kind of thing,
it is.
And so, but it's actually more accurately Eastern philosophy than Lucas and the Jedi, because there's also compassion and universal love involved in it, which is weird for me to be saying that when I'm talking about somebody who is very clearly right of center. And many of his quotes are very, very heavy-handed about individual responsibility, individual competence. There's a meme that shows up all the time about a human being should be able to, and there's this laundry list of stuff: plan an invasion, butcher a hog, deliver a baby. There's this big long list. And like you need to be prepared to take care of yourself. But by the same token, at the same time, in Stranger in a Strange Land and in Sail Beyond the Sunset and a whole host of other works of his, I keep coming back to Stranger in a Strange Land because it's the one I've read more than once.
Okay.
But in a whole bunch of these later works, that's still there. But that's moved into the background, where he's talking about these other ideas. Like he gets into the idea of one of his main characters becomes a time traveler and runs into himself. And if his time traveler,
grandfather paradox, basically,
he plays in the grandfather paradox. One of the things that he brings up is, well, okay, if I travel forward in time, because I don't want to travel backward in time, because I don't want to. This conversation can't be about me running into like 15-year-old me. But if I run into me when I'm a consenting adult and we get down,
Oh.
Is that homosexuality or is it just masturbation?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say dirty old man,
right.
This is what I'm talking about is
yeah.
Well,
I guess if there's peen to the ane penetration, then you could make the argument for homosexuality.
Yourself.
Right. But if you're just shoving your thumb up there, then you could have done that on your own anyway, so therefore it's just masturbation.
So we get down to that level.
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. All right, we've got him pegged. That's good.
But I'm trying to give you an idea of where on the right of center kind of ideology we're talking about him landing. This is not a guy who's in his day-to-day life and in the rest of his writing, this is not somebody who's in favor of state before family,
right?
State before everything.
He seems
Cardassia forever, kind of. Yeah,
if you do the quadrant, it seems like he is much closer to the libertarian end of right, but he's actually an honest libertarian, not a libertarian who's like, well, someday that could be my boot on someone's neck. He's not a wannabe imperialist masking as a libertarian. He's actually closer to, I don't really dig on the horseshoe theory much, but I do notice that libertarians and anarchists, they've got some common ground on some stuff. Yeah. And they probably both garden really well.
Yeah, well, honest libertarians. Yeah, they're both probably they probably both grow really good weed.
Yes. And they both are not hating the poor.
Yeah.
They don't want to punish anyone else.
They don't want to punish anybody.
Yeah.
So that's where he's coming from. Heinlein very clearly, as did other writers in his crew, very clearly viewed the USSR as a totalitarian state.
Easy to do with all the literature at the time.
Yeah. He made the point repeatedly in his book, in Starship Troopers, that the troopers were all there by choice.
Okay. Yeah.
And the bugs were there because the brain bugs controlled them.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And
Demolition made the same argument about the powers of pain when Mr. Fuji turned on Demolition in Survivor Series in 1988, 89. And
so 88. So we're talking about end of Reagan, beginning of Bush 1.
Yeah. And Demolition was like, hey, and I remember it was in the WWF magazine, and Demolition said, we think for ourselves, just like the Americans in World War II, whereas, the powers of pain, warlord and barbarian, they only do what Fuji tells them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that manages to be height of the Cold War. The Soviets are a faceless monolith with only the people at the top making any decisions, combined with yellow fever, fear of the Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Fuji's whole character is that.
Yeah,
so, yes.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, literally, when you sneak attack someone, they call it a Pearl Harbor job.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So, the government in Starship Troopers is a representative government. Now, it's one with a limited franchise, because the book is a riff on political philosophy rooted in the idea that the vote is important enough that one needs to earn it. Now, it's not made very clear in the book.
Okay.
Years later, talking about the book, Heinlein pointed out that 95% of people with the franchise earned the franchise through non-military government service.
Okay, so the military is just one type of service. Okay.
One way to do it.
Okay.
Now, in the book, because he was writing the book at the height of the Cold War, because the whole thing was motivated by we can't stop the nuclear tests because the Soviets are allowed to kill us.
Yeah.
And the attitude, and I can actually, I think it's a failure that doesn't get explicitly mentioned anywhere in the book. I am going to say that's strike one for Heinlein in the book. And the characters in the book, one critic of his work pointed out that the characters in the book, the moment Johnny Rico goes home and tells his father, well, I want to do my thing as a citizen. I want to get the franchise.
Right.
His father, who does not have the vote, has not done any kind of government service, is a successful businessman, and does not see any
care
reason,
a whit for it. Yeah.
Doesn't care about getting into politics. Tells his son, that's a shitty career idea there's not a war on right now, you're never going to get anywhere.
Oh, wow.
So the assumption of people in universe in the book, or a lot of people in universe in the book, is the way to get the franchise is military service.
Sure.
There's another point in the book where Rico and a bunch of his buddies on a pass from basic training wind up getting ambushed by a group of merchant marine sailors in an alleyway.
Okay.
And two things happen in that. Number one, he makes a remark about, these guys, we always run into trouble with these guys as soldiers. Whenever we go into town, we run into trouble with these guys because they resent the fact that our service gets us the vote,
franchise,
and
theirs
doesn't. So was Heinlein kind of cleaning up his own record all those years later when he said this, or like had his opinion matured on it, or
hard to tell.
Kind of hard to tell. The other thing that happens in that fight sequence, because the whole book is written first person.
Oh, okay.
From the point of view of Johnny Rico. And Rico's remark is, after you've trained to kill a man with your bare hands, getting in a fight in an alley is actually a lot harder when you're trying not to kill somebody. Which I just want to point out, he's kind of right about, from everything I've heard from, because I haven't studied, hand-to-hand martial arts. Everything I do with a sword is no, this is the murder howl.
Right.
Yeah. but in like Aikido, for example, it's a soft form, but the very first tactic they teach you is, if you're being attacked by more than one guy, find a way to slam the first one's head into the pavement.
Right.
So you can then focus on the other ones.
Yeah.
Rip the second guy's arm off,
Yeah.
So like, if you don't want to go full throttle, there's actually more effort involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember just, a martial arts type of, remembrance, was, when it came to certain types, the one that I learned was a lot of joint locking.
Yeah.
And the emphasis became break the elbow.
Yeah. Because
you break the elbow and they can still walk home.
Yeah.
So you're being kind. But if your arm is turned 90 degrees the wrong way, you're going to stop for a second and think about your next thing.
You're going to think about your life choices.
Yeah.
You're going to contemplate, how did I wind up here?
But when it was, what do you do if you get attacked by two people? Yeah. It was try to get them to be in a line with each other, so only one at a time, and then go straight for the groin, and then rip the other one's ear off. And that was and that was my Sifu's wife.
Oh shit!
Yeah, she was like, and we all had like a running joke of like, if because there's our Sifu, there was our Simo, that was her, and then there was also our Sigung. No, it was his CJ. It was his older training brother, actually. Sijong, I think it was. But, listener in China, please correct us. Also, hey, shout out to listener in Ireland. Good to see you. Yeah. But it was, if somebody were to spit on all three of them, what would happen? And it was, before the spit left the dude's mouth, our Sijang would, our Sifu's older training brother, would have broken several bones on the guy and his friend who was supposed to drive him to the hospital. Sifu would have just been like, well, that's kind of warm. Do you mind not doing that? And Simo would have killed him, then gone through his wallet, found all the people he was related to, and burned them to death too.
Wow.
Yeah. So when she was teaching us, she's like, okay, so you rip off the ear. Like, and this is if you're facing more than one person. You rip off the ear because that's a lot of blood and a lot of screaming. And this way you can get away, It was just so it's nice to see that their advice worked its way into a Heinlein book.
Yeah, pretty much. So the book is it's a Cold Warrior manifesto.
Clearly.
It is every ounce a Cold Warrior manifesto, with then this additional idea thrown in about the responsibility of an individual citizen. If you want to be a participant in democracy, you have to have skin in the game. You have to have given something.
Right.
And the thing with that is, by itself, that's an idea that we can all look at and go, okay.
I see the logic to that.
I see the logic behind that. Now, the problem from there is that is the very beginning of a very steep, slippery slope.
Yes.
And the thing is, a lot of his readers, a lot of his critics have looked at that, and they have made the assumption that he wasn't like just kind of reaching over the edge and setting his foot down. They see the story as being him just leaping off a cliff into the abyss of absolute militarism, absolute fascism, absolute imperialism.
Sure. And
I think it is not a huge leap that you have to make.
Right.
And again, as we've always said repeatedly, authorial intent means dick.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear that, Heinlein, his own life experience, that's not what he's trying to say.
Right, right.
That isn't what he's trying to do.
Do you think he was of the mind of like, I get how you got there, but that's only one possibility? That I wanted to open it up to all of these.
His own statements about it range. I think it depended on what time of year and like how many cocktails he'd had, depending, and
sure.
like whether his wife was on his back about something, his responses vary from that kind of thoughtful, well, okay, no, look, what I was trying to do was a thought experiment,
right,
to just a full-throated, no, I'm not a fascist, fuck you for calling me a fascist, no, kind of thing.
Kind of depends on how many times you get asked in a day, too.
Yeah, well, yeah. And how aggressive somebody's being about,
right?
Because when literary people got in his face about, you fascist fuck, he'd be like, I fought the fascists.
Right.
Like, you see how old I am?
Right.
Like, no.
Right.
That word means shit, and I'm not one of them. And so with all of that said, and with everything I've said about, kind of trying to thread that, the book is not a satire. Okay. And it is a full-throated defense of militarism because it's a Cold War
set in the Cold War
novel.
Yeah.
It is the granddaddy of military science fiction as we know it today. Without Heinlein Starship Troopers, we would not get Hammer Slammers or the Forever War, or for that matter, we wouldn't get Halo.
Okay.
Or anything by John Ringo. John Ringo, no. But who also is right of center, far right of center. But anyway, it's very heavily colored by his own life experiences as a naval officer. And so there is a very clear bias that soldiers are patriotic heroes, more patriotic than anybody who doesn't serve. That is
someone who went to an academy and
that's definitely there. There's an awful lot there to unpack.
Sure.
And as I have in my notes, as we've established before, authorial intent means jack and shit. So it shouldn't be at all surprising that when Paul Verhoeven got a hold of the work, shit went fascist.
I look forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, and I think we're at a point, having gotten to here.
Yeah.
This is a good place to draw the curtain for now, and we can come back in our next episode.
I like it.
Talk about the movie, talk about what the movie was reacting to, which is a whole lot of other shit.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about 59 to 97.
Right.
So there's almost 40 years of history between them. There's also Paul Verhoeven being Paul Verhoeven. Anyway, we'll get into it in the next episode. But what is your takeaway at this point before we fade to black?
Sure. Well, a couple things come to mind. First of all, Heinlein, not much on the titles cleverness. Starship Troopers seemed like a silly title to me when I went and saw it in the theater, and I had no idea it was based on a book.
Okay.
And Have Spacesuit Will Travel. Yeah. You know, Have Spacesuit Will Travel is also a silly, but it's very much a product of its time. So
yeah.
Another takeaway.
Starman Jones is another one of his.
Oh, good Lord, Jesus.
Oh well,
yeah.
Okay. Look at the era in which it was being written in terms of the genre as a whole. Before we go,
it's a baby.
Crapping on the man.
Yeah.
So,
you got to get the shitty titles out of the way before you can get to clever ones.
Start getting a little bit more artful. Yeah.
So I guess one of my takeaways is it's funny talking about this in the early parts. I really want us to kind of do a watch along of the Deep Space Nine episode where Sisko has a fever and he imagines that he is Benny.
Oh,
oh God.
I don't know if I want to put myself through that.
It's harrowing, but it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of his best performances.
It really is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I don't know necessarily that it's good for this show. I just kind of want to go.
It's an excuse to go do that.
But so just. I'm curious as to, because when you talked about, God, what's the guy's name that wrote Conan?
Robert E. Howard.
Thank you. For some reason, I kept confusing Heinlein with Howard. So when you're like, I'm going to do Heinlein, I'm like, we did Heinlein.
They both start with H.
Right.
They're both
2 syllables.
Sexist. They both come from an era of very different social mores. Yeah. No,
but I'm. What was I going to say about that? Rewind just a bit there.
The massive, Y chromosome.
Oh no! Because I remember nothing to do with that actually. More how he made his money. Because I remember Howard wrote for magazines.
Yeah, pulps.
Yeah, and
Heinlein did too.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Okay. This wasn't that.
At this phase, this was not that.
Okay.
At this phase of the development of the genre, we're 20 years after Howard.
Right.
And so the very, very earliest pulps, many of them have died off, gone away. There are new magazines coming out. And so there was a whole plethora of anthology magazines that descended from the pulps.
Right.
That were a thing, and Heinlein and Pornell and Niven and all those guys.
They would write for them.
They wrote for that a lot.
I was curious about that.
And Heinlein was very, very prolific with short stories.
Okay.
And there are multiple collections of his short stories out there, and I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm a fan of Starship Troopers, the book, less so the movie. I'm a fan of a bunch of his novels. I am a huge fan of his short stories because he was very, very good at finding an idea and building a neat little story around it with wit and character and
just get in, get out. Boom.
Yeah, get in, get out, and leave a lasting emotional impression. We Also Walk Dogs and Green Hills of Earth are to me 2 of the best science fiction short stories anybody has ever written. And I will fucking fight people over this. Like you can say there are others that are better, and I'll be okay with it. But if you try to tell me those 2 are not masterworks, I'll be very angry. So anyway,
did Heinlein write any episodes of like Outer Limits or no?
He did not.
Did
TV. Not do any TV work.
That's what I was curious about. Okay,
no.
So yeah, I guess my takeaway is just more questions about his prolificacy. So thank you for answering those. I did want to drill just a little bit deeper into. You said that it was a. I forget the word you used.
Bildungsroman.
No. The thing about the fact that it's very pro-militarism.
Yes.
Is it that it's pro-militarism, or that's simply the backdrop of the thought experiment he was running?
My own opinion. The thing is, it's we can't get inside his head, and his commentary on it might not. It might be self-serving. It might not.
Right. Yeah. It's not necessarily a narrator, a reliable narrator.
Yeah. I'm going to say it it comes across as pro-militarism.
Okay.
Because that's the society that he built.
Mm-hmm.
And within that structure, that's what it is. There might also have been some attempts on his part to say some things in the mouths of characters that are supposed to kind of be ironic.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't always very good about irony.
Irony doesn't travel across time either.
Yeah, and irony doesn't. Yeah, it's a very tricky thing.
Wow.
So there's that possibility. My own opinion on it is he is very much pro the institution of the military is critically important for the defense of a free state.
Cool.
And soldiers, and I think he did have a very strong pro-soldier bias.
Okay, that works. Yeah.
So I think that's
okay. Just because when you said that 95% of the population had other ways of getting the franchise, that starkness to it made me just kind of pause for a second. Like, clearly we're focusing on this 5%, but if the other 95% can do it in a different way, why did this 5% choose this?
Yeah.
And why is it only this 5%, and on and on? So I wanted to know what his value placed on that. But thank you. All right. Cool. Well, give us something to recommend something to us. Recommend us a short story that would really be the most Heinlein-y.
The anthology.
Okay.
The Green Hills of Earth.
Okay. Green Hills of Earth.
If you can find that short story collection, if I'm remembering correctly, that obviously the Green Hills of Earth is the title story in that anthology, and I believe that one also includes We Also Walk Dogs. Which to me is one of his best exercises in the way he was able to draw pen sketches of characters very rapidly and make them entertaining, sympathetic to different degrees, and they all spoke with different voices, and you could very clearly tell who each one of them was in a very short number of lines of text.
Okay, cool.
So how about you? What have you got for
as far as you mentioned anthologies, so I'm going to actually recommend an anthology that I really like from Star Wars.
Tales from Jabba's Palace?
No, actually, although that's a fun one.
I enjoyed that one a great deal.
Yeah. I would have recommended Tales of the Bounty Hunters, except for the Bosk story kind of sucked.
Okay.
But actually, no, it's Tales from the New Republic.
Okay.
So, which was, I think they just did a collection from the Star Wars Insider magazine.
Okay.
And there's also Tales from the Empire, so you just take your pick. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, all right.
But just such fun anthologies in there of you get to, what I loved about it is that it's a great big universe.
Yeah.
And here are people you've never heard of.
Yeah.
See, Jabba's Palace was cool, and the Tales from the Cantina was cool, but those were characters I'd seen.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, cool, let me trace this back. And it was either a good story or a bad story. But the Tales from the Empire and Tales from the New Republic, characters and organizations you'd never heard of. And I liked that a lot. Yeah. So I'm gonna say go with that. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, where can people find you on social medias?
I can be found on Twitter and on Instagram as E.H. Blaylock. I can be found on TikTok as Mr. Blaylock, M.R. Blaylock. And we collectively can be found on the Twitter machine at Geek History Time. And where can they find you?
Well, you can find me at Duh Harmony on both the Twitter and the Instagram. You can also find me every Tuesday night on twitch.tv/Capital Puns. Also, there is a YouTube channel now with myself and my partner, Ian McDonald. I don't do anything on my own. I always have a partner.
Yeah, well.
My pun show, the show that I'm doing with Ian McDonald that now is on Excelsior Gaming on YouTube. Type in Excelsior Gaming. And it's the one that has a character from Marvel Strike Force as the thing. Where we teach people how to play Marvel Strike Force.
Yes. In
a very fun way, and so I recommend those. Beyond that, I would say that's enough. Quite frankly,
I think so.
I
am continually amazed at your energy and like how many balls can you keep in the air?
Yeah, I can juggle. I can juggle
spin
3.
A lot of plates.
Yeah. It beats being lonely. So
okay, well, that makes sense.
you have a family full time. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's where you can find me. And eventually, if we can beat the variants and keep everything from getting worse, eventually you can find me live doing comedy again. But that's an indeterminate amount of time away.
Yeah, sadly.
So, yeah. All right, well, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And if you want to learn more, tune in next time.